or 9 years, what, 3rd grade?
We are live.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record. We request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meeting. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Schmidt.
Present.
Mrs. Stokes. Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignon.
Here.
Mrs. Prado. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Lexner. Chief Earl.
Here.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Cantwell.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here. Madam Clerk, Ms. Stubbs contacted me. She's dealing with a family matter this evening. Oh, I'm sorry. We're open up with the first public portion. This first public portion is only for agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro,
Good evening.
once again in the historic village of Ariel. I hope you all had a great New Year. I didn't get up to the last meeting. Had nothing to say. Ordinance 01702. Does that basically equate to we're borrowing $6.6 million more dollars
Eventually we will, yes.
within this calendar year?
I don't know when we'll actually borrow the money, but this ordinance will enable us to borrow the money either through the issuance of permanent financing or bond anticipation note.
Okay. As far as the timing of this, eventually you're going to need it. Why it's important to have it on the agenda tonight to vote on this, or have this as a first reading tonight?
There's items that we want to move forward with.
Okay. And I guess my simplest and most practical question, is this really necessary to continue this type of borrowing?
I'll answer that since you answered the previous ones. Okay. This is part of our road improvement project where there are 13 different streets that are listed here. If you bear with me, Cherrywood, Edgewood, Broadacres Drive, Orchid Avenue, Millbridge, Prospect Place, Lincoln Drive, Winding Way, Hampshire Road, Stonebridge Development, Johnson Road repaving. In addition to that, drainage improvement projects throughout the town. There's 3 of them. In Chestnut Glen area, Argyle Avenue, Sturbridge and Sturbridge Oaks, Melvin Avenue, and the Glendora section. Recreation, playground structures for Brittany Woods and State Street Park. Public Works building improvements. Recreation center roof, HVAC, building improvements to various buildings for the township. Public Works equipment and vehicles, which includes dump trucks, recycling truck and a loader. That's part of our global agreement that we have with GTMUA. Blackwood Lake Dam, Parks and Recreation maintenance, and miscellaneous office equipment. And then in addition to that, the police department, which are police vehicle replacements, equipment for those vehicles, mobile data terminals, replacements, portable radio replacements, police mobile radios, body cameras. Those are just some of the highlights of that particular budget. So yes, it's necessary.
I agree that some of the things are necessary. I'm not quite sure why we didn't budget for or don't have that. As we discussed at 2 meetings ago, we spoke about unused money of previous loans and the reallocation of those funds to apply to Trenton for that. instead of borrowing new money. The Public Works building is not that old. What type of improvements need to be done? Because we vacated the other, I guess the animal control or animal welfare had used that building temporarily for a while, but that the Public Works building is fairly new. What
This categories, these are the items listed under Public Works building improvements. So it's not necessary for Public Works. HVAC, Tom, what's that HVAC for?
I think it's a continuation of the program that we have.
Oh, when we replaced it over at the rec center?
And on the Public Works building, we need to do some repairs to the old Public Works building. If you recall, we put a wash bay there.
Yes. Recreational center roof, community park, they have restrooms here, community park at Hickstown Park. LED lights for the municipal parking lot, wireless security upgrade for Academy Hall and Gabriel Davies Tavern, vet park bathrooms, interior painting, the Vision Center roof, which is located next to the lamppost, fuel pumps for a new computer system, recreational center interior paint, front office renovations, and the old Public Works building repairs.
I can appreciate the lengthy list of some things that are needed, some that I saw on that may not necessarily be, but once again, I'll ask if we can't find some of this money and unspent money in our funds already, that we don't have to borrow some more, because if my math is correct, total township debt, including the schools and all other entities, which is the responsibility of taxpayers, getting near $120 million.
Ray, can you give me 3 items on here that you don't think we should do?
No, that would be for you guys to figure out
I mean, you're a citizen.
where to find the money that's already sitting, that's unused, instead of borrowing new money. Each time we borrow money, we're paying a commission to somebody that's going to help us borrow that money when we've already got money that's sitting. It goes into the general fund. I just don't understand when you got money in your pocket and pulling out a credit card, but we're paying the bill. If you've got money in your pocket, that credit card should never come out. That's my question. It's got to be there. There's got to be enough, maybe not the whole thing, but let's not borrow all this money. It's getting ridiculous.
But Ray, you said that there are some things you don't think should be done, and I'm just curious what those things are on this list.
I think maybe council would want to go back over that and take a look. What we can afford, what's a little bit more important. I'm not going to name any individual thing. I mean, I see in there that the folks at Brittany Woods have been begging for the longest time to get some recreational equipment. It's about time. And I would never say that's not deserved. Those people have been waiting a long, long time for that. There's just some things, there's some expenses in there that I think you got money in your pocket, and I think you should put the credit card away. And if you got to spend on a credit card, let's take a look at how much cash, how much money we have, and less borrowing.
Ray, I had lunch with somebody today, and he said to me, he said, people complain, but they don't have any solutions. Now I'm asking you, you have the chance right now. You have the chance. You disagree with this. What do you want to take out of this?
What I want to take out is money on hand and revisit how much you want to borrow. Find out how much money can be reallocated that was not spent, that's going back into the general fund, and lessen the spending.
When that money's canceled, it's appropriately going back to offset debt service. And that's approved by the state of New Jersey. You can go check with the Division of Local Government Services. That is the proper way to handle it.
But
Mr. Prosser, I'm sorry, your time's up.
well, you spent about the better part of 1:45 seconds of that 3 minutes giving me your list.
Ray, yeah,
Eh,
I went further.
Mr. Mercado,
Thank you very much.
yeah, have a great day.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the first public portion.
Waive the reading and accept the minutes of the regular meeting December 28th, special meeting reorganization January 3rd, and January workshop.
Accept a motion to accept the reading and accept the minutes. Thank you.
Second.
On the question, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes to the regular meeting on December 28, 2016, and the reorganization January 3rd, 2017. I'll abstain from the workshop on January 3rd, 2007.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
Bids, 2016 road improvement program.
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinances, this is first reading, we'll have a public portion at the second reading. Ordinance 0-17-01, ordinance of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, and State of New Jersey, adopting amendment number 6, amending ordinance 0-97-17, commonly known as the Glen Oaks redevelopment plan to establish an office, commercial, and planned residential overlay district for specific tax blocks and lots pursuant to NJSA 40A-12A-1 et sec. This ordinance, the purpose of overlay district is to provide flexible redevelopment opportunities to accommodate general office use, light manufacturing, warehouse, commercial, and planned residential development, and to identify underutilized properties. This particular area, it runs down Lower Landing Road off the Black Horse Pike. Mr. Lechner, is there anything you want to add as Director of Community Development?
I just add, specifically, it's on the corner of, the two main areas are on the corner of Black Horse Pike and Lower Landing Road, and opposite the exit of, off of 42.
10B.
on
Okay.
Lower Landing Road.
Thank you very much. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Ordinance 0-17-02, it's a bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of capital equipment and the construction and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $6,632,363, therefore authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $6,316,635, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing. This is a capital improvement budget. As I stated earlier, I just highlight reconstruction and repaving of various sidewalks throughout the township, reconstruction and repaving of various streets throughout the township, improvements to recreational areas, acquisition and installation of traffic signals and street lighting, improvements to various buildings in the township, acquisition of additional and replacement equipment for Public Works Department, acquisition of office and computer equipment for various departments, acquisition of various equipment for the Police Department, acquisition of various equipment and completion of various improvements for Parks and Recreation, and completion of various township projects, including but not limited to Blackwood Lake Dam, compost facility, and bus shelters. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next, we'll have our consent agenda resolutions. Anyone wishing to remove any item, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Make that motion.
Is there a second? On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
32, resolution appointing members to the Gloucester Township Municipal Utilities Authority.
I entertain a motion to accept the motion. Excuse me, resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
And 33, resolution authorizing renewal of retail consumption liquor license in the Township of Gloucester.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question? I have a question. Mr. Carlemere, with the sale of that property, so these individuals are just holding on, or,
This
Madam
is-
Clerk, they're just holding on,
It's in pocket.
it's in pocket, they're holding on to it.
So,
Okay.
it just, the state has just permitted them to move it. So
Okay,
Such a be a valid license.
all right, thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We did not receive any GT Gov access emails. Now we'll open up the second public portion. Any individual can bring up any issue at this time. Yes, sir.
Craig German, Hughes Landing. The sidewalks, they're county-owned and township-owned from the firehouse to Ears Place. They're never maintained during a snowstorm. I've called numerous times.
From the firehouse on, from somebody over from the firehouse to where?
Ears Place,
Pierce Place, okay.
Is that on the Wawa side?
yes, the Wawa side
The
primarily.
other side, they don't have a sidewalk, right?
No.
I have a vested interest in these sidewalks being cleared too.
What?
My boys run, so.
I've been there 17, 18.
So, all right, Pierce Place. Yeah, EYRES.
I know the usual story I get is that it's county sidewalks, but now that we own the sidewalk where the Owens and Corn property is, that hasn't been done either.
Okay. We'll forward that to
We have
public.
crews, actively out there clearing public sidewalks.
We'll forward that to Public Works to our business administrator. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just to follow up on Ray's question, I'm a little concerned about the debt myself. Just, you know, are we going to continue this debt forever? I mean, how are we going to, it's over $100 million.
Our portion of that debt that Mr. Polidoro had brought up is roughly $56 million. It's,
We're not
60.
59, 69.
I mean, are we doing, I hear the spending, which is great, but are we doing anything to pay it down?
We are.
We have in the past, we have, I would say, for lack of a better word, refinanced some of our bonds. What's the correct terminology? Refunded, okay. Some of our bonds and our debt. In addition to that, Mr. Carr, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, statutorily, you can go up to 3.5% of the average of the prior 3 years assessed value. In our case, we're assessed at $4.35 billion. We are only around I think it's 1.4 or 1.35%. So we are far below the limit that we could go in terms of debt.
I guess the question, if I may, is I've heard it from a couple of people, not necessarily from Mr. German. They're afraid that the debt will creep up. And is your question, are we doing anything to maintain or reduce it?
Yes, I just hear spending, which is great. Yet projects need to be done, but I know if you run a household, you run a business, you don't want to have a lot of debt. I mean, you want to pay your debt down. I don't personally care to carry a lot of debt. I don't think it's healthy for the township to carry a lot of debt. I mean, I haven't heard anything about it being paid down. Maybe you should let us know when it's paid down or paying it down. Or
Well, we pay based on a debt service schedule, and it's based on the useful life of the items that we buy. It's amortized over a period of years, typically 10 to 15 years, depending on again, like a street would have a longer life, obviously, than a truck.
right. But they're all bought with the same loan.
They are. They're financed in the same method.
Yeah, just curious if this, that tends to grow. Just to make sure you guys had a handle on
Thank you.
it. All right, thank you.
Mr. German.
Mr. Polidoro.
Again, Ray Polidoro, Ariel. Mr. Mercado or Madam Clerk, have you received an email regarding some issues with the eGov and those eGov questions making it through to you?
Yes, I did receive an email. I responded to the individual that sent me the email.
Okay, and has the issue that was with that problem, has that been resolved?
I had inquired with the clerk if there was an issue with it, and she indicated yes.
Okay.
That individual that sent the email has not forwarded those emails to me or resent them.
Okay. And one of the resounding issues with the debt, no matter what portion is the townships, which is which school district, still comes from our pocket, raises our property taxes. One of the things that's most disturbing is that debt service is excluded from the 2% cap. That's how when municipalities have to live within their means with only a 2% cap, we were able to, not we, you were able to raise the tax to 12%. And you said, and had answered this question on numerous occasions, that the debt service is excluded from our restriction of the 2% cap. Therefore, we continue to carry debt. We will continue to have the availability to go above 2%. It's almost as if you don't have the 2%. It's useless if you have debt. You're always going to be able to raise taxes above that cap. Am I right?
You'd have to speak to somebody from the state, because that's how the calculations are handled.
Well,
That's promulgated by the state.
The state's not raising debt. The state is giving you the availability of going above the cap, being excluded from that cap. It's not the state's fault we're in debt.
We fill that tax levy cap waiver form out exactly the way the state tells us to do it.
Okay. It's just, it's not just a matter of here. It's when everybody does it together and takes us into debt, it's still, it doesn't matter, right pocket, left pocket, it's still coming out of our pockets, including yourselves. So, be mindful of what the other entities are doing. When you increase our debt, they are as well. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Sweet?
Sam Sweet from Ariel. Just wanted to follow up with my question from last meeting. Do you have a chance to talk to the mayor about potentially moving redeeding the property or anything like that?
I've not had a formal discussion with him yet about that.
Okay. I don't mean to be a pain. I'm just following up.
Mr. Carr said if you had that discussion with him.
I have not.
Okay. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Happy New Year. Carolyn Grace, Brittany Woods. I just
Hi,
wanted
Ms.
to,
Grace. How are
we're
you?
excited about the park. Surely excited. So, when is it anticipated to be in the works, or the location? Did we discuss the location?
I can't give you a timeline here. We're just passing a bond for it.
Okay.
As part of our capital
Jumping
budget.
ahead.
But I'm sure that the administration, along with Mr. Cardis, will sit down with the neighbors and residents of Brittany Woods and determine what the best possible spot would be for it,
Okay.
and provide you with the timeline.
Okay.
And
And
we
also,
also intend to apply for county open space grants for both parks.
wonderful. And also, did I hear something about sidewalks in Hampshire?
No.
Okay.
Street improvement in Hampshire.
Okay. All right. Just checking. All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks.
Mr. Heimel.
Pete Heinbaum, Morningstar Court. Good evening. So the new process for submitting electronic questions to the council is to email to you? Is that what we're saying
No.
now? No.
It's sent to the eGov email. When you sent me your email, Mr. Heimbaugh responded to you. I was not aware that there was an issue with it. I spoke to Mrs. DeJosie. In fact, I spoke to her last week after reorg, and she indicated to me that there was an issue with that email. That issue has been resolved.
Oh, it has been resolved, so now the process is through the eGov. Okay,
Yes.
all right, good. And you said to resend. When you send a question via eGov, it's gone. There's no, the sender doesn't get a copy or confirmation or anything in their sent box or anything like that. So it's gone. And it's usually applicable to the meeting when it's sent. So if a question isn't asked and answered at that meeting, it's not worth resending some of the time, so I didn't resend you any. That was my last problem.
It's not in your sent box, sir?
Not resend eGov, use that form that's on the webpage. You type in a question, hit send, and it's a webpage form, it's not an email. I do have a question regarding the agenda. I missed the agenda portion, the public portion. There was, on the bill list, there was a bill paid for $19,000 some odd to Blue Sky Power. Do we know what that $19,000 payment was for?
I don't have the bill list here. Mr. Cardis is,
Yeah, I mean, they're our energy consultant, as you
Right.
probably already know. I believe it was for continuation and finalization of the Owens Corning site. There's a rather large solar array that has been constructed out there, and other projects that they're working on. They're working towards possible cogen for this site and the senior center. There's a couple other miscellaneous things. And I believe that was it. That was a accumulation of several months, a few months.
All right, okay. Another question, at the last meeting, the reorganization meeting, the professional services contracts were awarded. I noticed there was a couple, when I compared some of the awardees this year to those last year, there was a couple of things missing. One, we gave a contract to a contractor for engineering services - special projects to a company called Land Dimensions. I didn't see that on the list at the last meeting, or even on the, I don't think I even saw it on the RFQ list. Is that a service we've discontinued now, a consulting need that's been,
I think we used them and we didn't put it on.
so we didn't use them at all last year, apparently? I mean,
I don't recall using
it was called special projects. It was kind of vague. You know, there's engineering for streets and sidewalks and recreation. Last year, we awarded a contract called engineering services - special projects, which wasn't even that specific, and it wasn't renewed this year, so I guess we moved on from them. Also, there was a few other professional services that were not awarded at this meeting. Just had questions. Most of them had to do with solicitors and engineers and things like that to the planning and the zoning boards. Were those awarded later in the year?
well, the planning board, they will award or indicate who their solicitor and engineer is at their reorganization. Same as
So but it was on the same RFQ. I mean, but the township issues the RFQ, and I assume awards
on
the.
behalf of those organizations. When I was on the
Yeah.
planning board,
Right.
that was done on behalf, the township did it on behalf of both planning and zoning, and they're more than welcome to the planning board chair, and also the zoning board chair to review them as well and provide their input. So they select their own solicitor and their own engineer.
Based on the same rules, the bidding rules and the results of the bids and things like that
Yes.
as the township contractors. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Radish.
Good evening, Frank Radish from Fenwick Lane. A couple meetings ago, a resident brought up some concerns about a class action lawsuit against the turf field company who did our turf field. And was there any clarity around that? If it sounded like it was almost like the turf was recalled in some way, and is there anyone following up on that to see if we are affected or unaffected by that?
Well, I'll defer to our solicitor. Is anything that
I haven't seen anything come through my office on that.
Mr. Cars?
No, I don't.
Is there someone who can call this company to confirm if we are affected or not affected?
Sure, absolutely. We can do that to the business administrator's office. Reach out to them.
Okay, I reached out to, but I didn't hear anything.
Did you see anything on the internet on this?
No, I didn't. No, I did not. Well, there is a lawsuit, and I only saw similar information to what that resident said about the lifespan of the fields not lasting as long as they're supposed to, and I think there was even some affected lots of this turf that they needed to recall.
I recollect that he said it was installation within a certain period of time.
I thought it was
Yeah.
back in
2006.
2010 or
2005 to 2006.
Okay, so it was more a period of time, and then
That's what I interpreted it as, but
I mean, just some confirmation that there's nothing to worry about would be great.
I'll check in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Mr. Sweet?
Sam Sweet from Ariel, and I don't know if this pertains to you guys. MUA, does that fall under you guys at all?
They're
or-
a separate, they're an authority that's created by the township. We appoint individuals to that board.
All right, because here's my issue. You know the sewer line that goes in, the cover? I broke the cover. It's like shattered into a million pieces. So I now have a cone sitting over it. I called MUA to get a new cover, and they say they don't supply the covers. I cannot find the cover for the life of me.
Is that the little cylinder that?
Not the little cylinder, it's the I guess, it's got a rectangle that sits over. I can't find it. What's that?
Got openings in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of the old side, must have been older house. A lot of the older plumbing systems, it was preventing in the house issues that use what was called old vent.
It's like the cover, and now I have a cone over it so that no animals can go in or nobody trips over it. And my wife is kind of getting on me like, well, can you find it? And I'm going to every plumbing store, and they're looking at me like I have 3 heads.
I have some problems finding, because they don't, no new construction has that. So I'm not sure where you think those covers now.
Sam, let me grab your number, and I'll call over to the MUA executive director and see if they can direct me into.
Like they suggested Gloucester City Plumbing, and I went there, and the woman behind the counter looked at me like I had 3 heads. And she's like, you were looking for what? And I even took a picture, and she's like, oh, we don't have that. Why would you think we have that? I'm like, because my MUA directed it. She says, no, you got to go to the MUA. And then someone at MUA said, call Aqua Water. And I called Aqua Water, and they referred me back to MUA, and I'm like kind of chasing.
So you've gone to the MUA already?
Yes, I've gone to the MUA. MUA kind of
What do they
said,
recommend for you to get it?
they said Gloucester City Plumbing. And then, so I went to other plumbing facilities, and they all look at me like I have 3 heads. They're like, well, no, we don't carry those because that's not a plumbing issue. That's a county issue or township issue. So,
Let me grab your number. Come up here and provide my number. And I'll contact the MUA for you.
all right.
They may be able to get it. Come up. That's your test. There you go. I'll give you a call tomorrow about that. I got it. Thank you.
That's it.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the second public portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Lechner?
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Chief Earl?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Gardner?
Nothing to report.
Cantwell?
Nothing to report.
Cardis?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison?
Briefly, thank you very much for coming out this evening. Prior to coming this evening, I read a couple articles about the state of New Jersey financially. And I gotta be honest with you, it was quite depressing. It's really quite depressing. Apparently, we have just taken the lead in the most underfunded pension in the country. So I hear what you all are saying with regard to debt. But on the other hand, this is a huge town. And I asked Ray directly, what project could you point to eliminate? And he could not. And that's the dilemma that we as council up here face. There are so many different projects that have to be done that don't even make the cut. But we have to determine which one gets done and which one doesn't get done. So we have a program in place that allows us to do capital improvements around the town. And we do the best we can to keep that within a certain amount of money, and we pay debt off each year as well. So, just to let you know, Mr. Derman, it's not an easy choice. Thank you.
Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you for your concerns.
Mrs. Winters?
Thank everybody for coming out this evening and staying well.
Mr. Vignone?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and happy Law Enforcement Appreciation Day to Chief Earl and all our Gloucester Township police officers.
Mrs. Estrada?
Thank you all for coming out, and I echo the same sentiments to the police department. Thank you for what you do. Have a good night.
Mr. Mercado?
A few things. Martin Luther King Day of Service is next Monday. All events start at CW Lewis School at 8:30. We have 31 projects throughout the township. So if you want to volunteer or you and your family want to be involved in a remarkable day, please go to the township's website. There's 31 projects there with descriptions of them, and you can register. Again, that starts at 8:30 at CW Lewis School next Monday. I want to thank Public Works for the outstanding job they did on our roads with our snow this weekend. Please convey that to them, Mr. Cardis. Wonderful job with our snow removal. And the township will start, I believe, later this week, start accepting nominations for Black History Month. We recognize individuals that have made outstanding contributions to our community during a Black History Month celebration at the second meeting in February. With that, I entertain a motion to close. Is there a motion? Is there a second? On the question, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.